And I guess we'll start off with the steel toe subpoena show. In the meantime, Aaron, as a brilliant Rhodes Scholar that he tends to be, was on one of his live streams talking to a guy named Geno Bisconti. And he pulled up his phone and said, "Hey, bro, check your phone." And Geno pulled his phone up, and appears that there's claims that it is a naked picture of Kayla Rekieta. Aaron got charged with for sending that picture of Kayla Rekieta. He got charged with dissemination of hold on here. So he got charged with this, chat. He got charged with the non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. And he was charged under two separate statutes, intentionally and unintentionally. Now, these are both important because the intentional dissemination is a felony. But Aaron has the felony currently. He currently has the felony. What happened from here? Well, Aaron also was charged in the alternative for a second count, non-consensual dissemination of a private sexual image, but as a gross misdemeanor. And this one is alleging that there was a dissemination, but it wasn't done with the intent to harass, harm, or embarrass. So that's a misdemeanor. That means he could face up to a year in jail. Obviously, that's a lot better. Would it be better if you could just go like this and go, dismiss? Sure. But that's not happening. Aaron is stuck with a felony and a misdemeanor. So what do we know happened so far? Well, Geno Bisconti and Keanu Thompson both had claimed to seen it in the police reports. They had seen the picture. Pretty simple. You would bring them in and say, "What did Aaron send you?" And they would say, "Oh, he sent us a picture, a naked picture of Kayla Rekieta." Fair enough. And that would be a great way to prove the case. But here's the issue. Geno and Keanu live in the New York City area. Typically, you only have subpoena power within your own state. So, for example, I can serve as an attorney, and I'm sure most states' attorneys could do this. Attorneys could serve subpoenas on people. And the power of that is throughout the state of Ohio. I can serve people anywhere in the state of Ohio. Process servers could do that too. But when you're doing somebody's out of state, well, the court's jurisdiction ends at the state line. It doesn't continue with the subpoena. So there are times, and it's frequent in civil cases, especially in lawsuits, where you have parties that are out of state or maybe out of, not even necessarily in the state, but they're in a different federal district or a different federal circuit. They're all over the place. So states have interstate compacts that allow you to serve parties. And the way it typically works is you try to get a subpoena where you are, and you say, "Judge, we tried to serve them. They're not here. They're not available. We believe that they're in X county. Can we please have permission to go file this and do it?" And pursuant to the procedures laid out in the law, you then go take care of that subpoena and you put it there and you bring it there. You introduce it to the court there and say, "Your Honor, we come from the land of Minnesota and we're asking you to enforce a subpoena on Geno Bisconti and Keanu Thompson." And that's how the process works. This is a process also for criminal cases. But for this case, we're learning Stearns County, Minnesota, where Aaron is currently charged, will go all out, as Ethan Ralph found out, and we all found out. They put a warrant out for Ethan Ralph for contempt nationwide, which is like bonkers. But they do it. They do it. And it was really, I think we all were surprised at that. But what did we see in the meantime? Well, in the meantime, the district attorney, the county attorney for Stearns County put together, they filed documents. And these are documents pulled off of Aaron's case here. And this is an affidavit. It's an affidavit by one of the county attorneys. And this is an affidavit to compel the attendance of Geno Bisconti as a witness. Eugene Thomas Bisconti. That's obviously Geno. There you go. It's Eugene. As a witness in a criminal prosecution. The assistant prosecutor, Carrie Dolan, comes up and she swears as her own statements here that the state of Minnesota, by the adoption of Minnesota Statute 634.06 to 634.09, has made provisions by its laws for commanding persons within the state to attend and testify in criminal actions pending in other states. They also point out that the state of New York, because that's where apparently, I guess they lived there. I thought they lived in New Jersey, but I keep hearing that, but it says New York here, so I'm assuming that's correct. By the adoption of McKinney's criminal procedure law 640.10, made provisions by its law for commanding persons within the state of New York to attend and testify criminal actions, which have commenced or are about to commence in the state of Minnesota. Now, this doesn't mean the law is meant for they do one for each state. It's to acknowledge out-of-state subpoenas will be honored, and that's how you honor them. So they're talking about, in this case, a jury trial, and it's the state of Minnesota versus Aaron Michael Imholte. And they say which case, and they talk about Aaron's charges. He's got 2 counts of non-consensual dissemination. I almost said non-consensual miscegenation. It's like, that's not correct. That's not correct. But this trial is set to begin May 13th at the Stearns County Courthouse in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And they point out that Geno Biscani is a material witness in the trial to the state of Minnesota. And he is, because he's the guy that Aaron disseminated the image to. Now, Geno's not in trouble, but he's going to be able to say, yes, Aaron sent me a picture, and it was a picture of Kayla, and she was naked. So, yes, he is very critical to the case because he is the proof that this actually happened. Because there is no image that it doesn't appear to be on the phones. And if there was, they wouldn't necessarily need Geno at that point. If they could show that Aaron had sent it or however he did it, but it doesn't appear that was done. They talk about it, though. Biscani is a witness to the charges of non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images, and they were committed in the city of St. Cloud in the county of Stearns. And they say that Geno will be required to be present at said trial beginning on May 13th at 8:30 a.m. And they said the office will undertake to assure that all reasonable expenses of Geno associated with his testifying at trial will be promptly reimbursed, because that's an issue for Geno. You know, where he, like, New York City is 19 hours away and over 1,200 miles from St. Cloud, Minnesota. And it's one thing that if you live in town, you're in the next county over, and you get a subpoena and you have to show up and you're to court order. Yeah, you got to suffer. You're going to have to suffer on that one. But to make a guy drive there, rent a hotel and be there, or fly there, yeah, that's going to be on the state to reimburse. You're dragging this person halfway across the country. Yes, it should be your obligation to take care of that. And they say that the laws of Minnesota and any other state through which Geno may travel may be required to pass by ordinary course of travel will give him protection from arrest in the service of civil and criminal process. So, and that's an important thing, guys. And this thing here is an idea that, let's say you subpoena a witness, and that witness has a warrant out for their arrest. If they have a subpoena, they should not be arrested because they're responding to a court order. We want people to respond to court orders. We want people to comply with court orders. We want people to show up when subpoenaed. And this is the affidavit, and this is signed by the assistant attorney. So that is done. And that's not the only thing they have here. What else they do is they do a couple other things in this to show what's going on and what else happens. Now, the same thing was filled out for Keanu, because Keanu is a witness as well. So we're not going to look at that one because it's literally the same thing, and they're going to demand that she show up too. And part of this then turns into a certificate gets filed, and this is from the judge themselves. And this is the judge doing their part. And remember, this is all stuff they have to do to present to the county they're going to show, judge, you need to issue the subpoena for Geno and Keanu. This is judge saying, my name's Heidi Schultz. I'm a judge in Minnesota. And we talk about all the same statutes again. We talk about the New York statute. We're talking about Aaron's case again. It's May 13th. We talk about Geno Biscani as a material witness. And more importantly, now you're getting to the point of the affidavit from the assistant attorney is now incorporated. And this judge is now saying it is requested that Geno be directed to attend and testify as a witness. And this is one where the judge now signs it. And the judge is now getting involved. And from here, there is the administrator of the court. So not the judge himself, but he's an administrator there. He does certify that this judge was, at the time of the signing of the certificate, an actual judge in Minnesota, duly elected and qualified, and that the court is the court of record in Minnesota. You're now seeing the formal paperwork requirements coming in. The judge is now saying, listen, judge whoever in New York or New Jersey, listen, I'm a real judge. This is a real case. Other people are certifying that. This is the process you have to accomplish here. So what happens from here? Well, the next step is that these get enforced. Okay. And along with this, you get the petition from the prosecutor who's asking for a petition for a subpoena. And they're asking for this court that they're going to go to and that's going to get filed in, please serve the subpoena for us and please order one out. And once again, they talk about the state of New York. They talk about going through everything there. This one's for Keanu, but it's Keanu and Geno. They each get one. And they talk about all the petitioning requests here. So therefore, they hereby petition the district court to issue the certificate requesting this subpoena. And then it's going to get filed. And then it's going to get served out of state. And then it becomes an issue for Geno and Keanu about what they do. Now, it's going to get served on them. They're going to get a subpoena served on them. It's a court order. And they could be held in contempt for that if they don't show up. Could the prosecutor ask for a material witness warrant? Sure. And that's a warrant where the police would apprehend them and they would be brought forcibly to Stearns County. What I would tell people is you should generally, I would tell people you should abide by court orders. Just as a matter of course, you can't defy court orders. I can't tell you to do that. Now, what's going to happen here? Well, we've already seen Stearns County went after Ethan Ralph. They went after him. They put out a nationwide warrant for a contempt of court issue. The idea is, I could just not show up and they won't do shit to me. I don't know if you really want to try them. I could see them putting one out for you. That is not the smartest answer at this point. Now, could Geno and Keanu fight this? Sure, they have every right to quash a subpoena. And I could see them trying it. Based on what's been here so far and from what I've looked into, the court in New York's probably going to be like, yeah, you're going to have to go. But we'll see what happens. Bella's saying his defense lawyer could drag both of them through the ringer. The way they both keep changing their story, sides, and underwear. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's like I said, there's some things I think Aaron can argue. There's some things he's going to have a tough time with. Do I think at the very least he's probably going to get like the misdemeanor out of this? Yeah, I think that's probably the most realistic outcome here. I don't know why they didn't offer that to him and just be done, but who knows what's going on? As Aaron has said, they're still working on more, and I don't know. Maybe they're working with USA Boxing to get his license reinstated. I don't know. Who knows at this point? Brad is saying, does it have to be in person? Yes. And I would not, there are, depending on your states, there's the idea you have the right to confront your accusers. You have the right to confront witnesses, and confronting them in person is far more effective than if you're confronting them on a screen. It's a completely different vibe, among other things. So yes, having witnesses appear in person is very important. Now, there are times where you could probably get away with it if it's not a critical witness, but it's a witness that kind of fleshes out some basic information. Sure, you might be able to get away with that. But Geno and Keanu are critical witnesses that, yes, you should have them there. If you can't have them there, I'd argue that's a massive confrontation problem. Die Freighter Watcher will saying, will Kayla have to testify? Presumably so, because she's going to have to say, I never gave permission for Aaron to disseminate that to Geno. She'll be able to say, I gave it to Aaron, but I didn't give him permission to send it out because it's her image. So yes, she's going to be the one that has to testify. Because it's her image. She's going to be saying, yeah, I gave it to Aaron, but I didn't want him to give it to anybody else. Keanu said Aaron took the picture today. Okay, well, also, Keanu has also said, I'm not showing up. I don't care what you send, which is not the smartest ploy when you're knowing court orders are coming your way saying, I'm not going to apply. That's not a smart idea. You're just setting the stage for the court and the prosecutor's office trying to fuck over. So, Keanu, if you're listening to this, just shut the fuck up about the case, just for your own sake. You're not helping yourself. Regardless of whether or not you want to help Aaron or Nick or April or Kayla or whoever the hell you want to help, just shut up. You guys are not helping yourself right now. That's my free advice to you there.